Crap. Hello everyone, and welcome to the first of my Flash tutorials. Crap. Okay, where I'm going to teach you some of the basics of Flash animating, because some people probably need it, and it's just good to have these sorts of things in your head. So, without further ado, I'm going to explain just a few basics of the layout. Down here is the properties screen. You'll see properties of numerous things here, including the frame rate, which is probably one of the more important things. If you're going to sprite animate like me, frame rate 24 FPS. Don't mind about the dimensions of this thing, that's not going to matter. Although I usually keep it at the default. Anyway, so awkward pause. Okay, so a few basics of the layout. Over here is your timeline. This is where you'll see your numerous layers that you can add or remove from, things like that. I'm sure some of you who know the basics already know this already. Over here is the library, where items from, well, items that you've made will be stored, so that you could, say, reuse a sprite you've already added into the Flash animation before. Now, every animation is broken up into numerous frames, every single frame being just a single bit of the animation. At 24 frames a second, well, I don't think I need to explain that. I'm not good at giving tutorials, so first time. Okay. So, here's first things first, symbols and motion tweens. Symbols are your best friend. They allow you to do some pretty cool effects to things you've made. Now, here's what I'm going to show you. I've just made a circle, and I'm just going to highlight the entire thing and name it ball. Oh, right. Hold on. You go to modify, convert to symbol. Okay, well, I'm going to teach you my symbol process. I do this with all of my sprites, so this is just something I do with balls and stuff. So, you go to modify, scale and rotate it, scale it by 200%. Burn that into your head. And it just makes all the sprites bigger and, in my opinion, easier to work with. So just burn that into your head. Modify, scale and rotate, modify, transform, scale and rotate 200%. Then modify, convert to symbol, you name the symbol whatever you want. Keep the symbol as a movie clip, as movie clips can have filters added to them, like glows. You can toy around with the glow settings to get it the way you want. And then modify its strength. If I had a white core, that would look like a key blast right now. But it does not have a white core. I can change that. Nope, I can't, because it's a symbol, not a drawn object. If it was a drawn object, I could change that by modifying the colors over here. Anyway, symbols are your best friend for that reason alone. They can have a ton of effects put onto them. You can also tint it, blend it. Blends are something I'll get into a bit more later. And I'm going to teach you about motion tweens. So, what you're going to want to do is just highlight wherever you want on here, right click, insert keyframe. And on that keyframe, you want it over here. And then you right click this, create motion tween. What that does is it moves it for you, so that you don't have to modify every single bit of movement. Now, depending on the amount of frames, that will be slower or faster. Another trick for these to make... This is how I work with character movement and a whole bunch of other things. Now for the next part of this tutorial. Well, not tutorial, for a little bit of... Another bit of trivia on motion tween. Trivia? What the heck am I saying? Okay, so you can use this option down here, Properties, Ease. You do that after you click on the middle of the motion tween, and, well, easing is that it kind of makes the motion less static, I guess you could say. Not the same rate throughout. Zoom, if you ease it out, it'll start out fast and slow down as it moves. If you start out slow, if you ease it in, it'll start out slow and start to go fast, ramp up in speed. I can display this a bit more accurately if I were to do this. See, as it goes to the right, it starts out slow and goes faster. When it goes to the left, it starts out fast and gets slower. That loop is bothering me. 1 second. Perfect. So now you see what I'm getting at here. Eased, if it's eased in, it'll start out slow, go fast. Towards the end, if it's eased out, it'll start out fast and get slower as it goes. Burn that into your head, because that's really useful for character movement and such. I'll give an example at the end of this tutorial. Okay, now for the next type of motion tweening. Bouncing. Not next type of motion tweening, just next point, what part of animation? The bounce effect. Now, I have a set way I do this. 3 frames, keyframe, another keyframe, 3 frames, keyframe. That's just how I do it. You could mess around with this to get different rates of bouncing if you really, really wanted to. So just mess around with it if you don't like it the exact same way I have it set up. Okay. So this is how you do the bounce effect. It's mostly through motion tweens. They are your best friend while animating the way I do it. So what you're going to want to do for this is going to want to activate onion skin. Now what that does is that it will show you a faded out image of the previous frames of the animation. So what you're going to want to do is that, and basically just squish it down and then align the squished edge with the one more, I think. Yeah, that's about good. This is a bounce effect. It's really good for transitioning between LSW poses, since, I animate in LSW. It can be used to transition. It can be used alongside transitional poses and other styles of animation, I figure. I don't know, don't quote me on that. If you're going to animate with a different style, I'd recommend you find your own ways of using what I'm teaching you here. That doesn't look that good of a bounce though. So you're gonna squish it down and align it perfectly that way, so it squishes down. Now you're gonna want this to start out small, but not as small as the last one. A little bit bigger. You see now it bounces. You can use this to transition between, multiple poses. Now, let's apply all the motion tween and bouncing knowledge. Mostly because I just want to see how well I can do that. Alright, I need at least one frame there. There we go. You can't insert something into a frame where no frame exists. Burn that into your head too. Gotta put the ball a little bit smaller. It Okay, so say we wanted this to fall down and squish down and then bounce back up here, kind like a ball. Well, this is how I'd do it. Hold shift and use the arrow keys to do this sort of thing. If you align your cursor with here, you can actually kind of realign where the ball is going. Whoops, 1 second, I did that wrong. We should have done this whole thing wrong, really. Yeah, it should not be reconfigured like that. Should just be straight. Let's align it like that though. See if that doesn't do something. So, motion tween over here, and then it squishes down. Use the onion skin to help with that. And then say we want it to bounce away slower. A really slow ball bouncing animation, but it gets a point across, I guess. Let's try and speed it up a bit, though. You see, this is where sometimes editing the bounce effect positioning can be beneficial. Okay, yeah, but let's remove that because that was terrible, and just make this go off screen. Just barely off screen. Now, it wouldn't be completely... It wouldn't be completely smooth. So there you see, little ball bounce. This isn't really sprite animation, it's more animating with a little ball thing, but it's a really good basic, I presume. I never actually used this for practice. This is actually my first time making a ball bounce. Don't think it's that bad. Maybe, though, it shouldn't be on the ground quite that long. Yeah, that's about good. Now, how does all this crap apply with, say, sprite animating? Good question. Let's find out, shall we? So let's just take some sprites from my sprites folder. From the Dragon Ball Z area. Evil Brawly. Broly's already evil. Let's say we're going to animate a little bit of SSJ2 Vegeta. This is GIMP. What you're going to want to do in GIMP is, or whatever image editing program you want, is select by color, or the magic wand if you don't have select by color, and make the background transparent so that you can accurately copy. Yeah, just accurately copy some of this stuff. So, let's make about, yeah, around there. Yeah, that's a good amount. We're not doing anything overly complex here. Let's name this BG for background. Vegeta Aura. Under Vegeta Aura upper. Okay, so let's just copy that into the Vegeta. So, same thing as I did before, transform, scale, rotate, 200%. Well, what the heck? Must have copied him twice. My bad. Excuse me. Modify, convert to symbol, just call this Vegeta 1. I usually do these things by a number thing. You could also say, like, Vegeta Idol if you wanted to name these poses after what they actually are. I tend to just number them, though. Stages backgrounds. Let's just get a random background, like... Screw it, let's go with a classic. South City from episode 1. Of course, this isn't actually South City, it's just a city background I decided to call South City. You guys know how it went. Transform, scale rotate, 200%. You'll notice he fits in a lot more when the background is suited to, his end. Alright, I forgot, there's one more we need. There are two more. VCam, or a virtual camera. You're gonna need to get one of these on your own. I can't exactly tell you where to get them. I don't actually remember where I got mine myself. Okay, let's call this one sound. Doesn't matter where you put the sound layer, I just tend to have the sounds at the highest point for some reason. Want him here. Now, let's go into a previous one of my FLAs, and no, let's not save. Not yet. We don't need to save this. Let's see, let's open up good old AT episode 2. All I want is the VCam. That's all I want, that's all I need. So where's the VCam? It should be right here. I don't want anything else from the effects folder for now. The VCam works as basically the camera, hence the term virtual camera. So you can zoom it in, or zoom it out, or do a whole bunch of other crazy stuff to it. Make it shake. It's better than just animated with that white box that's normally the camera. There you go. Now you see you've got Vegeta standing in place. Well, that's boring. Let's make him do something. So, let's put into practice the, well, first let's add some more frames. We're going to need them. Also, add one more layer. Call this one Flash. No, not for our program, for the screen effect. And let's call this... Let's have him be on screen for at least a second. About 2. No, about 1.5. And let's say have him swap into his next pose. Now, this is where you're going to see, so, blank keyframe there, because that's where his next pose is going to be. Now, without the motion between this, or any kind of animation, this looks really bad, doesn't it? Well, that's to be expected. Let's try and align these properly so it looks like he's actually shifting into that pose. Okay, now let's animate him as if he were shifting that pose. Normally, just a bounce down is good enough. So, let's do that. Now align it so you, at least that bottom leg right here is perfectly aligned with the other version of it. Also, convert to symbol Vegeta 2. Sometimes I forget to do that immediately, that's alright. Just don't animate it. For some reason, motion tweens don't seem to work completely alright. At least not bouncing wise when it's not a symbol. So just make it a movie clip. It's not really a movie clip. And there you go. You can actually have him shift into that pose. It's really simple, isn't it? Sprite animating isn't nearly as time-consuming as some people might think it is. I mean, well, it kind of is, but at this point, we're going to take the sound, make a keyframe there, put the flash, make a keyframe at the exact moment, but we're not actually going to be doing that just yet. We're going to be activating his aura. So, the aura I'm using here, I didn't use it in episode 2, so we're going to have to activate go to the aura. It's new aura test, and the aura pack folder, which is a folder I made in there in the library. You can make folders in the library to store certain areas and things like that. So, here is the aura front, which is basically just this aura. You may notice it has this big black outline around it. Well, this is how you get rid of that. Blend, screen. It is that simple. And kabam! SSJ2 Vegeta has a aura. The screen blend will get rid of that perfectly, and also make it slightly transparent. So it works out completely perfectly. You could alternatively use the darken blend. Okay, no, not darken. Which one was it? Subtract? No, I don't think so. I don't think it's subtract. Okay, hard light? No. Either way, use screen. Use screen to keep the gold. So, you may notice that this aura is not gold. So if we were to just align it perfectly and then use blend screen, Vegeta would probably have a golden and purple aura, and for those of you who know how Super Saiyan works, that's no good. It may look cool, but it's basically no good. So how do we fix it? Well, several ways. Well, no, not several ways. There's really only one true way you can fix this. So align this properly so that the auras kind of match up right, I guess would be the term. And then you go to filters, once again taking advantage of the movie clip. And go to adjust color and change the hue until it turns what you think could be golden. And then up the saturation a bit, and it blends in to the point where you can't even tell that it's two different auras. Now, you're going to want to take VCAM off and take the upper aura off, and you're going to want to make Vegeta blend into this more. Also going to want to move this down. And to make Vegeta blend into this more, keyframe here. Give him a hard light blend. Jesus, that's bright. That is bright. You're not going to want to darken him. You're going to want to give him a tint, a slight tint in whatever color the aura he currently has on is. So, golden. If you had a red tint on, we'd do similar things for those. Just every color of the spectrum. Maybe the hard light blend isn't necessary for everything. It's definitely necessary here. Just weirdly bright. Ugh. Sometimes it's not this bright, other times it can be pretty dang bright. Perfect. Well, not perfect, because obviously it just kind of pops in. You don't want that. So, we're going to cover that up. Give it a flash to give it some kind of dramatic effect. Put big white over it. Modify, convert to symbol, flash. And then you're going to want to slowly alpha it out. And then you're going to make a motion to it so that it gradually fades. We aren't done yet, however. After a few seconds, I want him to just dart off into the distance. So let's increase this for a few seconds. So, 1, 2, okay. Give him those few seconds, and have Vegeta So, but I want to do this creatively if we want him to blast off properly. So let's kind of do this to, tilt him in that direction a bit. Not that much. Not that much. As if he's winding back just slightly. And then do the same thing, but for going forwards, but quite a bit more heavily. Now he shifts backwards before immediately leading forwards. And then, that's when you do a blank keyframe, and you give him his dash forward pose. Keep adding it. It keeps getting added to the wrong layer. The flash layer, I mean. So let's blank keyframe after that, so that it doesn't do that again. So blend. Hold on. Vegeta 3. Blend hard light. The same golden tint. Luckily, kind of saves it. Whoops, golden tint. Golden tint! There we go. Okay, let's give the onion's skin a chance. And let's have him be like that. And just have him dart over there. Now we're going to want something similar done to his aura, so let's... I did something similar to this before, but I'm not quite certain how I did it anymore. Luckily, having everything saved as an FLA means you can always just go back and see how you did it later. If you wonder what we're doing, it's actually rather simple. Okay. It's definitely not perfect, but it could be worse. And it's just a basic example. You could apply this to this kind of basic knowledge I've given you to pretty much all aspects of sprite animating, really. No single thing you can apply it to. So, let's copy my sounds folder real quick. Oh boy. And let's... The second he starts dashing forward, let's give it the run sound effect. Let's go edit, go effect, custom, and boom. Now in every animation you're gonna wanna, let's see, properties. Yeah, make sure all these encoding settings are at this. And also, hold up, I can go export, movie, and I can say export as tutorial animation. And what you're gonna want to do is set to MP3 160 kbps and quality best on both. Otherwise the audio will be a little bit also make sure JPEG quality is on 100. Make sure you save often. Flash can be a pretty unstable program sometimes. looks kind of boring with him just running forwards, doesn't it? So let's add a little VCam effect for that. Just for a little bit of extra spice to it. Now let's bring the VCam. And then bring the VCam back. Usually that's good for darting forward and stuff like that. You get a dust effect and a whole bunch of other stuff from sprites you find online. A lot of it is the same basic concept. There's more I can get into, but I'll have to save some of that stuff from a later time. But let's finish this up for now. So, give it the aura effect. Or burst sound effect, I mean. Alright. You save it like that, and then use another program called Swivel to turn it into an MP4, I think? 4 is the one that has video? Yeah, 4 is the one that has video. Or maybe that's 3. I'm still not certain. But without a doubt, I'm certain you get the point. So you click Add a Video, and why is it not on the videos library already? And look up the name of the animation if you have a lot of animations here. And tutorial animation SWF, frame rate, video. Make sure everything is set to maximum, lossless, high, bitmap smoothing. Audio is set to its max, and that should be it. Sometimes you might want to add a watermark to your animation. I don't think adding a watermark to a tutorial animation is really needed. And that'll export it and make it ready for upload to YouTube. Note, when converted like this, sometimes with that aura there's a little bit of color errors, as you're seeing right there. I think it comes out alright though. Not certain. But that's just gonna be an error we have to live with for the higher quality aura. So yeah, that's all the basic info I can really give to you right now, or could really care to give right now. You can apply this to fights and do a whole bunch of other stuff. Just practice, alright? If you guys need it, I can give some more tutorials and stuff, but it will all basically just be applying what we've already learned to, say, a fight, or, you know, just doing tutorials for, like, dialogue scenes and such. But this is the Iceblade signing off. I will see you guys next time. Oh god, I think I had a bit of a lisp there. I've always had problems with my S's. Anyway, yeah, Iceblade signing off. See you guys next time. Peace.